Welcome everybody to the Jordy Max Show, brought to you by MaxLawns.com. For all your lawn maintenance needs, check out MaxLawns.com. We are here live in the MaxLawns.com studios for the first ever video episode of the Jordy Max Show. Shanzi, what is going on?
Well, you know, it's not snowing, so it's a good day. The weather is taking a turn for cooler days. We had a soccer practice yesterday, and it was damn cold. It was damn cold. But I will say that we do have the right man for the job, and we have a special guest. So this is our very first, if you can see us, video podcast.
The MJW prediction, or Jordy Max Show predictions champion is alive. It's here. Championship is here. Shanzi's still salty about Bastion Berlin.
Let's bring on our very first video guest, CTV Edmonton's own chief meteorologist, Josh Classen. Josh, how are you?
Jordy, Shanzi, I'm fantastic. Thanks for having me on. You guys look good in the video format.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're right. It was kind of chilly. I golfed yesterday in the. We teed off at like 3:30. It was a little windy, a little wet. Wasn't ideal. Out at Sandpiper.
Oh, that's a nice one.
Yeah. Today's the first day I actually did stuff around the house. I had four straight days of golf, so I'm trying to squeeze as much in here before it snows.
I haven't even gone golfing once this season yet.
What?
Yeah, I got my new set. Still haven't gone golfing yet.
Oh, Jordy, you got to break that new set in.
Hell yeah! Hopefully we can get on the links soon.
We sponsored. Speaking of golf, we sponsored the Lawnmower Hospital. They had their first annual. It was called the Graham Mace Classic. And Graham Mace was the founder of Lawnmower Hospital. So Max Lawn Service sponsored it, and Jordy went and ran our hole. Yeah. And we actually had a marshmallow drive.
It was longest drive of marshmallows. So the winner in, if I can remember correctly, the winner in each group got a aeration certificate for next spring from Max Lawn Service, and then the winner in the whole tournament for that got a pair of Oilers sticks.
Yeah.
And what that's a good prize. What was the longest drive?
I think it was.
It wasn't even far. It was. I think we were hitting from the whites or the blues. Whites. I think it was to like the last tee box.
I think we were at
the middle.
It was like 20 meters. Like it wasn't far.
That's actually pretty good.
And it was actually
because I've done that a couple times at tournaments, and if I can get 6 meters, I'm happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun running it. We were out there for a while, and it's like. I thought we were supposed to start, and we were out there for an hour. So
Sandpiper,
that's over on Meadowview Drive, right?
Yes. Yeah. I'm up in St. Albert, so
gotcha.
I'm a Sandpiper, Twin Willows, Cattail, Meadowview guy. Those are my 4 courses.
Meadowview, formerly JR's.
Yes.
That's right. And
man,
you know
that
what?
was
it's
the
looking
spot.
Great. Those guys. Those new owners are dumping a ton of money into that course. So if anybody's watching them, they haven't been out there for a couple of years. You'll be surprised. It's in pretty good shape.
I'll have to go check it out. Yeah, we used to live in Sturgeon County, and so that was our spot. We lived on the other side in Coal Mine Road, and so we'd rip over and bypass St. Albert and go check that place out. And man, JR's was the best place because it was quick. The wife could come pick you up when you had a few too many, but you know.
Yes. And
it was
you know
cheap.
what? Like, so my kids like to golf, and I'm not paying $80 a round for you guys to smack balls for a 12 hole.
Totally.
So it's a perfect course. It's a perfect course for that.
Yeah, our spot we used to go. It was kind of up by Spruce Grove called Deer Meadows. So it's a nice little course. Yeah, it's nice because you go in the morning, there's not a lot of people. That's where I used to just rip my golf cart. Yeah, we used to rip the golf cart. I'm like, okay, I'm driving. I don't care.
It was good.
No, you're
for a quick
cart
night.
guy. See, I'm a walker. I golf better when I walk, I find.
Fair.
us old guys, we seize up, eh? In between each hole.
Exactly. I need to keep loose.
Yeah.
Although, yesterday I did not want to be walking out in that weather.
Yeah, it was crazy. Speaking of weather, I want to talk about. So I run a lawn maintenance company here in Sherwood Park. I've been trying to educate our clients about this phenomenon called refinery effect snow. It's a real thing, is it not? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I go refinery roast snow because then you get the rhyme in there too.
Yeah.
And you know me, I'm big about rhyming. Yeah, so I mean, what you need in order for clouds to form, you need some sort of, it's called condensation nuclei. You need something for the moisture to condense around. And so if you're in an area where you're just throwing all kinds of pollutants out into the air, I mean, obviously you've got more condensation nuclei, and so it's easier for those clouds to form. You'll have days where it snows, right on the east end of the city, but it's sunny in the west end. And even in the summertime, you'll be in the west end, it'll be nice and sunny, and then you'll drive out east, and all of a sudden you're under some overcast skies. So yeah, that is definitely a thing.
Oh yeah. I've been trying to educate the clients and say, look, in Edmonton we charge this much, but in Sherwood Park we got to charge about this much because we're out to your property at least 30% more. So
yes,
I'm glad we cleared that up.
That works out well for you then.
Absolutely, no complaints here.
Yeah, because I live half the time in Edmonton. I live sometimes with Shandy, sometimes with my mother. In Edmonton, when he's like, "Oh yeah, there's tons of snow out here in Sherwood Park," I'm like, "It's like that much snow, barely anything," and it's like shows me a video. It's like that much snow. I'm like, huh? So
it's a big city too, Jordy.
Hell yeah!
It's people like to talk about how much snow fell over like the course of the winter. It's like, well, I don't know. Unless you were measuring at your driveway, it's useless to just use the downtown weather station or the international airport, which isn't even in the city, because everybody gets something a little bit different.
It's a different weather pattern. I noticed that.
For sure.
They get it. It's almost like they get Drayton Valley weather, and we get like more north. We get more Whitecourt weather. That's what I feel. I don't know. I could be crazy.
Yeah.
And then it's
no, you're not crazy. I mean, a lot of the stuff moves in from the southwest, right? And so, the further north you are, then the further north that feed region is going to come from. So, and it's always that weather station out at the international airport's in a bit of a frost basin, and so especially in the wintertime, you'll see it'll read like minus 38. And in the city, it's minus 20. And I mean, there's urban heat island effect, but there's not 18-degree urban heat island. So even if you look at the backyard stations in Leduc, it always reads a little bit warmer than that international station. So I tend not to rely too heavily on those temperatures out there.
I think it's really funny because when we got that massive dump of snow last winter in like January, February.
That was March. I'll never forget.
Yes, it was March. So I saw a hit like Sherwood Park-ish, and it's like, oh, it's not even that bad. But at my house, I live on like 75th-ish in Edmonton. It's not even too far. But we could not walk out of our house because our roof was slanted, so all the snow just fell right off our roof, and there's about that much snow. So we could not walk out of our house, and there was like that much of a path just to like barely walk out.
And a lot blew in.
I know.
It was crazy.
Yeah. Well, and when it's windy, you get all that drifting. I know. But every time I complain about snow out here, my sister lives in Fredericton, and I'll send her a picture. She's like, that's nothing.
Nothing.
You don't know snow.
So you said you live in St. Albert. How long you lived there? All your life? Yeah?
No, I grew up in Lloydminster, and then I went after I graduated high school. I moved to Edmonton and went to Nate, and then after Nate, I moved back to Lloyd, and I worked in Lloyd for a while. I worked in Saskatoon for a while. I worked in Toronto for a while, and then came to CTD Edmonton. This summer was 21 years ago. Wow. So I've been here for 21 years, and we've been in St. Albert for maybe 15 of those years. My wife wanted a 4-level split on a corner. And when we were buying a house and had young kids, we found one, and it was here in St. Albert, and now we can't leave. My kids won't let us leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was funny. That was actually our first question for you. So you hit it right out of the park. So you you said
Lloydminster. Lloydminster. I was just there. You know, believe it or not, I've lived in the Edmonton area all my life, born and raised.
Yeah.
I've been all the way west. I've been to Tofino. I've been as far north as you can drive, all the way up to almost Yellowknife, just before they had the bridge. They used to do air shuttle or ice roads or whatever.
Yeah.
I've been to Seattle. I've been to Nashville. But the farthest east I'd ever been prior to 2 weeks ago was Vermilion. And so we went to a hockey tournament in Lloydminster, and I was like, no offense, I have zero desire to go east. Like,
well, you know what? You can run into a few more cool things going west than you can going east. You got to go a long ways east to run into. Yeah. That said, Saskatoon is a beautiful city. Saskatoon's a lot like Edmonton.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Beyond, so once you get east of Saskatoon, you gotta. No offense to Winnipeg, but you got to hit Ontario before you get anything good. When we moved to Toronto from Saskatoon, we drove, and man, is that a long drive!
I believe it.
Just nothingness.
Just
nothing. So
until you hit Alberta, it's just flat from there.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Actually, this is the thing. So. Just before Lloydminster, I can't remember the town. It was after Vermilion, before maybe. Yeah, there's a lot of rolling hills, and it felt like It felt like foothills, and I was like, "This is weird," because we're getting close to Saskatchewan. I was waiting for just flatness, and anyways, I just thought it was very interesting.
My aunt and uncle actually lived just north of Lloydminster, about 40 minutes north of Lloydminster, and we were there for a family reunion this year. And it had been years since I was out there. I'm like, man, it is beautiful up here. And same thing, rolling hills, nice little, lake, calling them a lake is kind of overdoing it, but some big sloughs. But it's there are parts of eastern Alberta that are spectacular. And even if you head, if you get north of Saskatoon, you get up into that Waskesiu, Prince Albert area, there's some really nice country up there. Yeah. That was the one thing my wife, when we moved to Edmonton, because she's born and raised in Saskatoon, and she's like, where are all the lakes?
Yeah.
Well, there's a couple little lakes around here, but Saskatoon, I mean, you've got great lakes within an hour drive any direction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my buddy tried out for the JPHL team down in Lloyd, and he didn't go there. I think he went to HC Edmonton, but I was like, no, please don't leave. Don't leave me. And then he doesn't go there, stays at our school. Second week of school, he has to leave because he goes to JAP. And it's like, damn. Hey, at least he didn't go to Lloydminster, and he's still in the city. No, the farthest he went to Lloyd, I think the farthest south or east I've been to Edgarville or something. I don't know. Okay, I don't go that way. Farthest west I've been to Tofino, but haven't even been close to Saskatchewan.
No. You know what? You got lots of years ahead of you. Make a trip out to Saskatoon sometime. You'll love it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we'll go for we'll hit Saskatoon. So. Geographically, Saskatoon is more north than Regina, correct?
Yes.
Or is it the other? Okay.
It's a little bit further south. It's south of Edmonton. It's almost kind of right in line with Red Deer, sort of, as far as longitude's concerned. But it's Regina's in the southeast corner, and Saskatchewan's kind of boom, right, sort of dead center.
I see. I'm looking at it right here on the map. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And then Regina. Gotcha.
Okay.
You don't need to go to Regina. I'll save you that trip.
Yeah.
I want to go to Regina. I just want to watch a Pats game, man. I just want to watch a Pats game. I'll go watch a Pats game and come right back. That's it.
We can go watch a Rough Riders game.
Oh, that wouldn't be bad. That wouldn't be bad. Okay, I'm going to move on to my next question here. All
right.
How did you become a meteorologist? I know you said you went to NAIT. You grew up in Lloyd, of course. So how did you become a meteorologist?
So when I got my first job in Lloyd, I was a news reporter, and I wanted to be a sportscaster, and I couldn't get they wouldn't give me the sportscaster job because I didn't have any anchoring experience. So my boss said, we've got a weather job that's open, do the weather, and then you'll have some anchoring experience. When the weather job comes open, then you can have the weather job. And so I did that for a while. I was like, I don't know anything about the weather. And he was like, no, it's fine. Nobody knows anything about the weather. There was no internet. There were no weather apps, right? We'd get on the phone and you'd call Environment Canada and they'd tell you what to say, and then you'd go on TV and say it. And so, if you remember Adam Cook, who used to do sports for us. Yeah. So Cook and I have known each other, for forever. He was one of the guys I was golfing with yesterday, actually. So he was the sportscaster in Lloyd, and when he left and went to Saskatoon, they were like, well, do you want to do sports now? And I was like, no, I love doing weather. So I was lucky enough to get a job in Saskatoon, and then while I was there, I was like, okay, well, I should figure out what I'm talking about because this is what I want to do for my career. And so I went to Mississippi State University and got my meteorology degree from MSU. So that was Mississippi State has a program. They set it up for military guys initially who were stationed overseas and they needed to get meteorology degrees. And so it was all online, and you fast track it. So you do 3 semesters a year instead of 2, and you can get it done in 3 years. And so while I was working, I got my meteorology degree from Mississippi State. And that's
awesome.
I graduated from that right around the time I started here in Edmonton.
So then you go and you're working at CTV Edmonton, and a guy comes in by the name of Kent Morrison.
Yes.
He was one of our first big guests.
He was the first guest.
He was our first big guest.
No, our first guest in general.
Oh, there you go. He was our first guest.
He was already legendary before he started with us.
Oh.
He's had a great career, and he's been fantastic for that morning show for us. He's a great guy and an even better broadcaster.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that he's a huge wrestling fan?
Yeah, I did know that. There's a couple guys around the station that are big
Yukon Jack.
Nerds.
He's on the other side.
He follows us on Instagram. Yukon, if you're listening, please, we will reach out to you. Come on the pod.
We're still trying to get Yukon on the show.
Let's go.
You could be great on the show.
1,000%. You were saying. So I'm only in junior high. I'm still pretty young. I'm starting this so early. No, there was only 2.
So is this? Sorry, Jordy, I don't mean to cut you off. So you're in junior high. Is broadcasting what you want to do for a career then?
Yes, that's my dream job.
You're off to a great start because I talk to a lot of kids at NAIT. Every year there's a new intake of radio and television kids, and I go out and talk to them, and I'm like, well, do you do a podcast? And they're like, no. Why?
I just want to do that.
Why wouldn't you create your own content and learn and make mistakes, right? So, good for you.
Yeah, that's actually where I want to go to school. I want to go to NAIT. I want to do the radio and television. So, like, who knows?
It's a great
maybe
program.
I have an in with you.
Go Ooks.
It was funny because I'm only in grade 8, and there was only 3 people that I remembered from the news, and it was you, Kent Morrison, and Jesse Beyer from Glory.
Yeah.
I remember when he came in, I'm like, new weather guy?
Yeah, so Jesse and I've known Jesse since he was 12.
Wow.
When I was working, he's from Saskatoon, and when I was working, I was with Global in Saskatoon, and when I was working there, we used to do a 24-hour telethon for the Children's Miracle Network, which Stollery is part of the Children's Miracle Network. It's kind of the overall international brand, and so he was a champion child. He was a miracle child. And so he would come in, and he was kind of the right age, and he would do sort of what you do. He would kind of co-host with us for this 24-hour thing, and he got the the bug, and so then he went to Nate, and then he had my job in Saskatoon, and then we hired him at CTV in Edmonton to do mornings for us, and then he went over to Global to do the afternoon show. So he's doing sales over at Global now, and I've convinced him to become a New York Jets fan. I don't know if that's a good thing or not after yesterday's performance. We were both kind of sharing some not nice words during that game, but it is what it is.
Okay, well that's going to segue perfectly to my next question. What is your favorite sport?
My favorite sport to play or to watch?
Both. How about that?
Start with play and then go to watch.
You know what? I grew up playing hockey. I retired a couple of years ago. I was a goalie, and I just couldn't do it anymore. I was not as good as I remember in my mind being, and so it just got too stressful, and so I retired from that. So I would say now, golf is probably my favorite to watch and to play.
Really?
I don't watch a lot of hockey until playoffs. You know, I'll watch the odd Oilers game here and there. Football, I've cared less and less about the NFL in the last couple of years. I don't know why. If it weren't for fantasy football, I don't like. I watch all the Jets games, but I have no interest in watching San Francisco play Baltimore.
Oh God! I'm a Niners fan, man. That hurts my heart.
I feel like
I just randomly pick those teams, Jordan.
Fair.
I feel like lately the NFL is like shoved down your throat.
Oh yeah.
Hard. Anywhere you turn, it's NFL, and it's like, just let it breathe, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I watch probably more basketball. My son's a basketball player, so we watch a lot of NBA. We probably watch more NBA and golf than any of the other major sports. So, although he's a Golden State Warriors fan, and I'm like, come on, man.
Bandwagon jumper.
He's about to start feeling the pain that us Knicks fans have felt for a long time.
I have a story about that, Golden State.
Okay.
So when the Raptors were in the NBA Finals in 2019, so didn't know much about basketball. I only liked the Golden State Warriors. I had a pair of Steph Curry's, and I'm like, oh, well, I guess I like Steph Curry. I'm a Warriors fan now. And when they won a couple games before the final game, I was like, no, come on, I want Golden State to win. It's like, no, the Raptors. This is the only Canadian team. Blah, blah. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I'm a Raptors fan now. And
so are you a Raptors fan?
I could care less about basketball. If anything, if I had to choose, I'm a Vancouver Grizzlies fan.
No, sorry. My son's asking me if the canned beets are jam. No, it's canned beets. It's not jam. Don't put that on your toast.
You should have let him found out on his own. Hey?
Hard life lessons.
Right, that's the best part of parenting. I don't know, find out. I have no idea.
Maybe he would have enjoyed beets on his toast.
Right?
1,000%. Okay, well, I got a little follow-up question to what is your favorite sport? So, in every sport, what's your favorite teams here? You said the New York Jets and the Knicks, so other than that, what are your teams here?
Here's what happened. When I was about your age, maybe a little bit younger, I decided I needed a favorite team in every sport. And so as a goalie, I had a few teams that I kind of really liked because I liked their goalies. Especially, I was a big Pelle Lindbergh fan for a very short period of time, but I loved Pelle Lindbergh. And so you used to be able to get these books that had. It was every year at the beginning of the year, it had like the list of who the players were for the team and a whole bunch of stuff. And there was always an address for the team. And so I wrote letters to about 12 different NHL teams saying, listen, I'm this kid in Lloydminster. I'm looking for a favorite team. I kind of like you guys because I like so-and-so and so-and-so on your teams. If you could send me some stuff, that'd be great. And most teams sent me, a little bit of swag. The Flyers sent me so much stuff and like a handwritten letter saying we would love to have you as a fan. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm a Flyers fan now. So I've been a Flyers fan all my life. Yeah, it was it was amazing how much swag they actually sent me. An autographed picture of Pelle Lindbergh, and because I had said that he was my favorite goalie, so they were my favorite team. And then I was like, I'm not going to be a front runner. I need to pick teams that are horrible, so that when they get good, I can say I've been a fan since the bad days.
Yeah.
Now, I am a New York Jets fan and a New York Knicks fan because both of those teams were terrible.
It all adds up.
Both of those teams have still been terrible. I have never seen a championship in my lifetime for one of the teams I cheer for.
Neither have I. I'm an Oilers fan, so I've been
it's
been
coming,
an Everly
Jordy.
fan.
It's coming.
I've been an Everly fan since I was out of the womb. That was my first jersey and everything.
Ebbs was your guy. Hey, yeah,
Ebbs,
you know what? He was a great hockey player and just a great guy too. The few times I had a chance to meet with him and chat with him, he was just sort of really nice and down to earth.
Yeah, like that's my dream. I just want to meet him.
Yeah.
Now here is let's see. Next question. Where was it? Okay, so how does the weather affect sports in different cities?
Well, I mean, some cities have to have domes because it's cold if they want to play football outside in the winter time.
Green Bay.
Green Bay, they probably should.
Yeah, they should.
I mean, even New York gets some brutal weather for some of those football games. So for things like attracting players, I think the weather can sometimes play a role, especially, if you're. That was always kind of the knock on Edmonton, is that the team's not really good, and it's not warm here during hockey season, so it's hard to attract those kind of players. And for sports like golf, I mean, weather's huge, right? If it's a ton of rain or a ton of wind, that affects things in a big way.
That's a good point.
That's why all those big leagues have meteorologists on staff.
Of course.
That's why we got the. I remember. Oh man, when was it? Remember Peter Nedved?
Yes.
So he was traded here, and so he was a player here, and all of a sudden his wife was like, "I'm not doing these winters.
No.
Beat it," and immediately gone.
I think that's story. That's probably a story that gets told behind the scenes more than it comes out publicly.
Totally.
That's probably a fairly common refrain at times from some of the hockey wives.
Yeah.
100%. And then I think this is one of my last ones here. What is it like being on the news in such a hockey-heavy city?
Well, I don't know that it being a hockey-heavy city really impacts my job all that much, aside from the fact that, I mean, when the Oilers in the last 2 years have gone on some fairly deep playoff runs, it just means I'm doing weather from Oilers games when I can wear shorts instead of when I'm wearing a toque and a parka outside. There are two things that this city loves, and one is the Oilers, and the other is weather. People in Western Canada, just in general, but especially in Edmonton, just for some reason they love to talk about the weather. They want to know about the weather. I don't know if it's still left over from agricultural roots and that sort of thing. But when I worked in Saskatoon, cared about the weather. When I worked in Toronto, the guy, the chief meteorologist there, when I first started, he's like, "Listen, I know that where you're from." Because he had worked here as well years ago. He's like, "I know where you're from. People care about the weather. Be aware, no one here will know your name or care anything about your forecasts." I was like, "Oh, okay." He's like, "There are legitimate celebrities in this city, and no one cares about the people who are on TV or on the news. You will be completely anonymous, and no one cares." And it's true. No one there cared about the weather at all. Whereas
until there was a lake effect snow, hey?
Yeah, exactly. There's 3 days a year where they care about the weather. Whereas here, people just love to talk about the weather. So it's been great for me career-wise, and I can't say enough about my bosses that I've had over the years at CTV and what they've allowed me to do. It's pretty amazing to me that I'm still here after 21 years and still enjoying it as much as I am.
Yeah, that's crazy. So you're from St. Albert. It's no secret that St. Albert is a hotbed for the rap community.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. But we also know that you're friends with a fella named RJ Kui.
Yes, who is also from St. Albert.
Tell us about how that relationship began.
So, RJ and I, in our previous lives, were both heavily involved in music. And then when I started here in Edmonton, I'd say maybe 2 or 3 years after I started here, he called me up one day and he's like, "Hey, listen, I'm opening up this thing called Planet Sound. I'm gonna do like jingles and promotional videos and that sort of thing. And I'm holding a grand opening party. And I know that you rap, and I've heard some of the old Wordsmith stuff, and I really want you to come and perform at my grand opening show." And
That's
so
awesome.
Like, okay, sure. And then we became friends from the moment we met. And so, yeah, he actually lives like 4 blocks away from me here in St. Albert.
He's a good cat.
He's great.
Go ahead.
How do you know RJ?
So throughout the industry, so years ago in my former life, before I was cutting lawns and
cars.
I worked in nightclubs, and more specifically this place called Clairview Pub, which was way back, even maybe a little bit before your time. So that place was, man, it was packed all the time. Wednesday night was like the night, $1.75 highballs. But every once in a while, they would allow local groups go up on stage and just perform. And so you had guys like Dark Sun Tribe. You had CV's Finest. You had Magoo would come out with his Politic Live. Yeah, like all these guys would come through. And so I got to know them, walking through. And they're like, so it's the funniest thing because like when I go out in public, everybody's like, "Oh, that's Sean from Clairview Pub." Not so much anymore, but up to about 10 years ago when people were still attending, right? Everybody'd be like, "Oh, I know that guy." And they knew who I was, but I'd be like, "I recognize your face. I don't know your name." But RJ, I saw him, all his crew, everybody come through. And Jahai from CV's Finest, I knew that guy since, and he was just on their latest episode. Yeah. And man, I knew that guy since me and him fought in the parking lot of our old condos in Clairview when we were like in grade 6, and he's like, "Yo, I know jujitsu," and I was like, "I don't care, I'll fight you." Anyway,
I know WWE.
But like, that's the crazy thing. When I saw you on there, I was like, "How do these guys know each other?" Like, yeah. But you got the rap background, and
it's a pretty small community of, especially of us old rappers.
And the old promoters. Remember Captain Abdul? Ask RJ about Captain Abdul. He'll tell you. Okay. He's got stories, man.
And then, not too long last year, right?
Yeah, last year. So, actually, backing up a little bit. So, the connection with you is CTV. So, was that 3 years ago that we took you to TSN 1260?
It would have been in 2022, so that would have been...
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Yeah. So I reached out. So I already knew Dustin Nielsen, kind of.
We're longtime AM Nasties.
Yeah. So I reached out to Dusty and I said, "Hey, this kid, he wants to get into radio and TV. It's his birthday. Can you just bring him in?" And so Dusty brings him in, him and LTE, show him around the studio and stuff like that. And they even let him get on the air at TSN 1260.
I did not know.
It's kind of cool. So that was his birthday present. And then I think it was, when was it recently?
It was last year, December.
Last year, December.
Yeah, November.
Go ahead, tell the story. Yeah.
We saw a couple ads and stuff like that. We saw RJ on his story talking about his new facility in Planet Sound, and he's starting a podcast about podcasting. So we reached out, was like, hey, can we get a tour of the facility? So on our Instagram, we did a little interview with him, but yeah, we talked. We got a tour of the facility. Great guy. He gave us some equipment. Thank you very much, RJ. Kind of helped us through, I guess, video.
Helped him through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, great guy. Yeah, so we went into Planet Sound, or their little new facility there.
It's not little. It's beautiful.
It's their smaller one compared to their other one.
Okay. So the new one or the old one?
The new one where you see the view of Rogers and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's so amazing.
Beautiful.
Oh,
yeah,
it's the best. The best.
Yeah.
Yeah, we Zach Ducum and I were just in there recording our all gas no brakes just last week.
We were at the
that
Estes.
Getting recorded?
So
are we getting a sneak peek of that? Okay. That's going straight on pre-save.
I think it debuted last week on the Nielsen show.
Yeah, it did.
Is it on Spotify? Or is it?
It can't be on Spotify because we used the Beat Nuts off the books beat, just because it was quick and easy for us to. But Buddy that's what he does. He makes beats, and so we'll try and maybe do a remix version with one of Zach's buddy's beats, and then we can put it out on all the streams.
That'd be so sick.
Yeah, we were at the Estes. That was great. I'm like,
it was a good night, hey?
Yeah, that was a good time. They put on such a good show, and to put it together like that, it was beautiful.
I did not know Zach Ticum rapped. Like, I seriously did not.
Yeah, I don't know that he. I don't know how often he raps.
Yeah.
But he has certainly got the bug now, because now he's like, hey, maybe we should do a few more songs. So
he rolls out with that chain. I was like, that's hilarious.
RJ and I have been working on an album for like 5 years. All right. And, those songs don't come together that quickly all the time.
True story.
We need a Zach Ticum and Josh Classen album. We need an EP, and then you guys can become like your little rap group.
Let's before we get to full blown album, maybe just an EP.
1000%.
That's awesome.
I don't know. We knew a guy long time ago. Great guy, Paul Woida.
You know that guy, Paul Woida?
Used to work.
Yeah,
I do know Paul. Well, I know his sister Carmen better than I know Paul. But
yeah. So the old church we used to go to, I think it was Trice City. He was the drummer there, and we became good friends with him. So yeah, Paul's a great guy.
What
crazy!
Like super talented artist. Like what he does with his looper is crazy.
Oh yeah, man. You can't even say too many nice things because it's all nice things. He's such a good dude.
Yep. I think he's in Nashville now, actually.
Yep. Yeah, he is. He's in Nashville. He's working on a recording contract, and I just spoke to him over Instagram the other day. But I will say the 6 degrees of separation with with so many people in the industry, it's crazy. And everybody knows everybody, and
it is, Jordy. That's my one piece of advice in broadcasting: is just be nice to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
You never know when you're going to run into them again, or you're going to need help from them at some point. And not that I think that you would ever be, a jerk, but like. Ryan Rashog, I worked with Ryan Rashog when I was in Saskatoon. I owe my job here in Edmonton to Rashog. When I was in Toronto, I didn't even know who to call once I heard this job was open, and so I called Rashog because I knew he worked here. Adam Cook and I, like I said, we worked in Lloyd. We lived together in Saskatoon for a while, and then I've known him since we've been here in Edmonton all the time. I worked with Onright. I worked with Reed Wilkins back in the day.
Wilkins, baby.
It's amazing how many people you end up working with or for. The industry is really small. So getting smaller every year. So it's nice to see when people you've kind of come up with do well for themselves. But you never know when you're going to cross paths with these people again.
Yeah, well, it's funny to think that you are actually not, or you are another Josh that has come on the Jordy Mac show, big NFL fan. So my uncle Beef Nips, aka Josh Point, he is a Rams fan. So he comes on for our NFL specials, our playoff predictions, stuff like that. Yeah. So who knows? If anybody's in the comments of our YouTube, who's the better Josh? Is it Beef Nips or is it Mr. Josh Classen?
I think on the strength of the nickname Beef Nips alone, I lose.
Oh man, Josh, man, this has been fun. We got to do this again.
Anytime, you guys. Anytime.
Okay. Maybe we'll get you on for. Go ahead.
We'll when golf season starts up again next year. I'm a big live golf guy, and so
nice. We can get you on and talk about that.
Some live and some PGA. If you need a basketball insider, my son Beckett and I can come on and we can give you some basketball insight too.
We do need a basketball insider, so we will we'll keep in chat. And when the New York Jets win the Super Bowl in 2053, you will be on.
Don't do that to me. Listen, we're going tougher this year. Jets are going to win the Super Bowl. Knicks are going to win the Larry O'Brien.
And Aaron Rodgers. No, here's what I'm calling. Jets are going to be in the Super Bowl, and Aaron Rodgers is going to injure his ACL.
And it won't matter because we have Tyrod Taylor now, and I love Tyrod Taylor. I love Tyrod.
It's gonna be I don't like the Chiefs, but I'm calling it. Somebody there is gonna injure Aaron Rodgers the game before the Super Bowl, and something's gonna happen.
It'll be WWE style. It'll be part of Taylor Swift's camp. They'll go in and hit him from the behind or something.
It'll be Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
Come off the bench and just steamroll him.
Can I take back saying that I'd come on at any time after all of this Jets bashing?
No, I'm not saying anything bad about him. I'm just kind of salty that we got screwed last year.
Here's the thing: I don't really like Aaron Rodgers, but he's my quarterback, and so I got to ride with him. So
you have to ride with your quarterback.
Fair point.
Yep.
Go Trey Ford.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Yep.
Agreed.
Josh, man, it's been a slice. We really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you so very much, man. It's
anytime,
it's
guys. Like I say, anytime. I'm always happy to chat.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So in the meantime, and in between time,
we're gonna wrap it up. Check out maxlawns.com and
Jordy Mac Show, YouTube, Spotify. We're getting our TikTok figured out. Some stuff happened.
They decided to ban us. I don't know.
And watch CTV News at 5 and 6 for all your weather.
CTV Edmonton, 5 and 6 o'clock. Your main man, Josh Classen.
and also watch Ken Morson's on too. Okay, in the meantime and in between time.
Stay classy.
Thank you.
That was awesome.